Yo, this is the Clockwork Pi PicoCalc. It's a Raspberry Pi Pico-based DIY kit that you build yourself. And thanks to a wave of updates to my custom firmware Picoware, it completely changes how you use the device. So today we're going to cover all the updates from version 1.6.1 all the way to the latest, which is version 1.6.9. Now, we'll cover the big headliners like the new LVGL graphics, Python PSRAM objects, multiple font sizes, an SSH terminal, and more. So let's get into it. All right, let's kick off things with the most obvious change, and it's really the one you can't miss, which is the user interface. With Picoware version 1.6.2, I brought in official support for LVGL, which stands for the Light and Versatile Graphics Library. Now, this isn't just a new theme, it's a complete redesign of how you use the device. Now, if you didn't know, LVGL is pretty much a professional open source graphics library made for little gadgets just like the PicoCalc. It lets developers like me build smooth, modern, and animated interfaces on hardware that just doesn't have a ton of power or memory. And honestly, the difference is just night and day. Now, to turn this on, you have to go into the settings as you saw me go at first. You go to System, Settings, scroll down, and just click Enter on Use LVGL. And then when you back out of it, you'll see the menu change, and it instantly changes the whole vibe. Now, the switch to LVGL isn't just about looking good, it really changes how you interact with the PicoCalc, making it more intuitive and honestly just a bit more fun to use. It's like going from an old command line terminal into a modern smartphone. Now, this upgrade also sets the stage for way more complex and interesting apps down the line, and it takes the whole platform from a cool DIY project to something that just feels more polished and professional. If you haven't noticed, the new UI is faster and more engaging, and a pretty clear sign that the PicoCalc is all grown up. Okay, this next one is a personal favorite because it fixes a huge annoyance I always wanted to solve, which was updating the firmware. Now, for the longest, updating your PicoCalc meant digging up a USB cable, holding down the boot select button, plugging it into your computer, and dragging over a file. It worked, but it was always a bit of a hassle. Well, starting with the Picoware version 1.6.1 update I released, that whole process is history thanks to over-the-air or OTA updates. Now, this feature, which I've smoothed out in the latest releases, lets you update your device completely wirelessly. Okay, so how it works is you go and open up the library, go into System, and then you can click on Check for Updates. Now, obviously, if you're looking at this video, you're on the latest one, so it's not like we're going to find an update. But if we did, you would click on it, it would download the update, and then it'll download to your SD card. Now, if you have a Pico W in, it'll download to a folder called Pico 1-apps. If you have a Pico 2W, it'll download to a folder called Pico 2-apps. Now, what's so special about these folders? Because the over-the-air updates depend on another project called UF2 Loader, and what it does is allows you to load firmware and applications directly from the SD card without needing to plug it into a PC. Now, the reason we had the files downloaded in those folders is because that is where this project looks for the files. So if you're on a Pico W or Pico 1, it goes in the Pico 1-apps, or a Pico 2 or Pico 2W, it goes in the Pico 2-apps. So in other words, Picoware piggybacks off of the UF2 loader to give you the best experience. You can now just download Picoware one time on your device, and if you have a wireless Pico inside of your PicoCalc, you can just download the update, turn off your PicoCalc, use the UF2 loader to just flash the UF2 file directly to your device, and start running the latest version of Picoware right away. Okay, next up may be the biggest thing I've ever added into Picoware, and it is PSRAM Python objects. Now, PSRAM stands for pseudo static RAM, and the PicoCalc hardware has an extra 8 megabytes of this memory. But using it in Picoware before used to be a bit tricky. You had to remember addresses and you had to remember to free those, which isn't that Pythonic. That all changed in Picoware version 1.6.2 when I added a new C module that completely changes the game. Okay, so here we are in Thonny IDE. Let me paste one of the examples in to show you how it works directly, and then we'll go over the stats. So the magic here is a method called malloc, and it's a command that lets developers specifically tell their code to store big things like data, images, game assets, all into the 8 megabytes of PSRAM instead of cramming it into the Pico's limited internal RAM, which of course frees up a ton of system memory. Whenever we use malloc, it creates a PSRAM Python object and assigns it to the variable. So for example here, we're saying text equals psram.malloc hello world. And if we are to print text, you'll see that it says hello world. So in other words, we can pass Python objects and data directly inside of malloc, and it will return a Python PSRAM object that behaves just like the data type of the data that you put in. So for an example here, this text that we're assigning to hello world string, we can do all the cool things with our text variable as if it were a normal string object within Python. So here's what's happening underneath the hood. The malloc method takes our data that we put into it and saves it directly into PSRAM, and then returns a Python PSRAM object that has the address and the length. Now each object takes about 176 bytes of heap, so it's really useful for bigger objects like your byte arrays and your image data and game assets and things like that. Now the only downside is there is a temporary RAM spike which lasts until the next garbage collection. So most Python objects are supported already, like string, int, float, bytes, byte array, a function, a list, a tuple. And I did work a lot on getting classes in, but it was just too complicated, so I stopped. Maybe that's something we'll add in later. Now, the cool thing about these objects is that you can delete them themselves, and a finalizer will be called, which frees that PSRAM region and attempts to compact the memory. Now, we have a method called collect, which is just like the collect method from GC, which you should use after deleting objects to compact and coalesce memory. Okay, next up, we're going over some really cool apps such as a SSH Terminal. But before we get into it, if you're enjoying this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe for future PicoCalc tutorials and updates on my project Picoware. Let's get into it. Okay, so let's go and open up the library because it's really the utility apps that show off what this thing can do. Let's go straight down to the SSH Terminal. It seems like a lot of people are excited about this. So the first thing we have to do is go and set the host. You need to set the port, which I think is defaulted at 22. You need to set your username, and you also need to set the password. Now, for obvious reasons, I'm not going to show mine here. But once you have that in, just go and click on connect and it will attempt to connect. After that, you can view the output. There's nothing here right now. Or we can go and execute a command. For example, if we type in ls and click enter. Now we see all of the files on the root of the device that I'm connected to. So it is pretty straightforward. It's really simple at this point. But over the next few releases, I plan to upgrade this app. Let's go check out some of the other new apps, such as a calculator. Now, this calculator resembles the iOS calculator and it's pretty simple. You can use the numbers or you can use the arrow keys and click on a symbol. And then once you're done, you can click the space bar or you can scroll down and click on equals. Okay, and back again. There is a whole Bluetooth section where you can scan for devices, you can advertise, And you can even connect and pair with devices directly on your device. One of the things I like to do is just check what devices are around me by using the RSSI monitor, I'm sorry. There's also a UART chat, so you can connect to a Bluetooth device and then send data over Bluetooth UART. One of the new updates in Picoware is the Python editor, which we've had for a while, but just recently we now have syntax highlighting. We have this test.py script, enter Picoware app, and here we are. Before, all the words were in white, so it was just harder to read. Now we go back and back, and now let's scroll down to the Wi-Fi. There are two new updates here. We can directly scan for networks nearby, and then what's cool is you can click on the network, for example, Will's Wi-Fi, and then I can choose to save the SSID and connect to it right away. And just like we had in the Bluetooth section, we have an RSSI monitor as well. Okay, let's wrap it up. Now, one thing I forgot to mention is that there is CircuitPython support now for Picoware and for the PicoCalc in general. And this is in direct response to someone who stole my code a few weeks ago and tried to make his own CircuitPython version that just didn't work for all the different Picos. So I took the time and finished completing the CircuitPython version of Picoware, which pretty much mimics the micropython version. So you get all the apps, over 40 and 50 apps. There is no Bluetooth, but there is Wi-Fi support and over-the-air updates and things like that. So let me know in the comments, what do you think about these updates? And am I headed in the right direction in Picoware? If not, or if so, let me know your ideas down below. And if you have any feature requests or suggestions, definitely let me know. I'm JBlanked. Thanks for watching. Peace.